Gary Vaynerchuk. And this, my friends, is the Thunder Show, aka the internet's most passionate wine program. And let me tell you something right now, I am one happy sucker because I have been talking about a specific wine critic for a long time now, and I have him here as a guest. So it is my honor to have what I consider the finest wine critic of kosher wine in the world, Daniel Rogov, here with me in New York City. Mr. Rogov, thank you so much.
First of all, let me say two things. The last guy who called me Mr. Rogov, I cut off his left ear.
Okay.
It's either just Rogov or Daniel.
How about Danny Boy? Danny Boy Rogov.
No.
Okay.
Daniel or you son of a whatever. Look, up to you. Okay, but not Mr. Rogov. Now I have a comment. You've been talking about me for years. I've been hearing you talk about me for years. I haven't had a chance to talk about you, so I'm going to talk about you for a minute. When I first heard this guy on television, I thought, this guy's a nut. This guy is somewhere between schizophrenic, psychopathic, I don't know what. At first I couldn't stand him. I couldn't stand you. I thought, this is vulgar, this is gross, this is yich.
Yich.
It came around, that's good Hebrew.
I know, that's very
great Hebrew. Okay. After a little while, all of a sudden it started dawning on me. Gary talks to a generation that I don't talk to. Gary is bringing in a whole world of people that don't read columns like mine, or Parker's, or the Wine Spectator. He's bringing in a new generation. And he's bringing them in their language, and their style. Now, your style is, they can dig your style.
Sometimes. There's plenty of 30-year-olds that think I'm a jerk off too.
There are a lot that don't like me either, you'd be amazed. Okay, so I just want to let you know, I've come to respect you, because I think you're cool.
Thank you so much. I've been reading your stuff for quite a while. I'm very passionate about changing, especially in the US, perception of all sorts of wine regions and types and styles, and definitely I think kosher wine, by the outpouring out in that room today, chills to my body because could not happen 10 years ago. We're in New York City, there's hundreds of people at this kosher wine event, and I'm excited. To me, that's a movement in the right direction.
Agreed.
Not just because of kosher wine, just in general. You know, people are drinking different kinds of wines, they're opening up their minds, and the same old preconceived notions are being broken down, and that's why I started my show, and I feel like it's a very great time in the wine world.
I agree. First of all, with kosher wines in particular, let's leave the rest of the world aside. Let's
sure, that's what we're focusing on today.
Okay.
We do a show every day.
Kosher wines, first of all, I think both Reform Jews, Conservative Jews, Orthodox Jews, at any level are learning something. Nowhere in the wisdom of our forefathers and foremothers is it written that you have to drink bad wine.
That's a very good point.
And until let's say 1978, 1980, most kosher wine was bad. Benjamin Disraeli once received a bottle of wine from the Holy Land. He took a sip. He looked at it like a gentleman. He said, tastes remarkably like something my doctor would give me for a bad winter cold. You know, and that's what it is. As I once wrote about one of those wines, it's drinkable. The question is who would want to drink it.
Sure.
Okay. Starting in the early 80s, there was a kosher wine revolution. Started with the Golden Heights Winery, spread later to California, came back and bounced, and now it's ramifications all over the world. The funny thing is, I think people are learning. They haven't all learned. There is no contradiction between good wine and kosher wine.
I agree.
There is one, by the way. When you have wine that is, forgive the word, mevushal, pasteurized, there could be a problem.
But that's most people's perception. For a long time it was about, you know, it's Manischewitz and that's the play.
Right.
And that's where it was pigeonholed. And what I think is really exciting, at least for me, is the level of quality coming out of Israel itself now.
Right.
And you know, we've got 3 Israeli wines here and we have 1 from California. Wait till you see where this wine comes from, vineyard-wise. That I think is really, and listen, there's you know, we're just going to jump off the subject for a second. There's a lot of great non-kosher Israeli wine being made. Israel is really starting to show its real face as a player in the quality wine world. Right.
The large wineries in Israel make all kosher wines. They have no choice because otherwise they can't get into the supermarket.
Sure.
The small wineries are making mostly non-kosher wines. So we're demonstrating that we're capable of both, and there is no contradiction between them.
Let's jump into this. I think for a lot of people out there, let's give them a little bit of a backdrop, a little bit. How did you get into wine? Where did you come from? Were you born in Israel? Give us a little story, a little 3-minute
You remind me once I was surrounded by a group of very hostile Arabs, and they all had Kalashnikovs, and I didn't have a goddamn thing with me. And they said, "Where do you come from?" And I figured there's only one answer to give, and I said, "Heaven."
There you go.
They laughed. Everything was cool. Everything was cool. All right. Without going into the whole life story, 'cause,
Sure.
you know, the
We'll have
life
so
of the
much
critic,
time.
the life of the critic is not that important. I grew up in New York City. I escaped from New York when I was very young,
How old?
15. I
Okay.
went to Paris. I fell in love with Paris. I fell in love with French wine, French food, French
Women?
girl.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, right. And I fell in love with the whole scene of food and wine. So while I was a student at university, I was studying wine and food at the same time.
I see.
And later I went to Geneva. I got taken under the wing of the owner of a very famous wine shop. It was called Le Cave au Palais de Justice, the Caves of the Palace of Justice in Geneva. The same family for 600 years, you know, little short history.
Couple days.
Right. And every day I used to go in, every day he would give me wine to taste. And every so often he'd give me blind tastings, you know, and stuff like that.
Now, were you going there to get wasted?
No, definitely not.
Okay. You were trying to learn.
I learned then, when I drink, when I taste, I spit.
I understand.
Very simple. I've been in America now for 9 days. I've tasted over 850 wines, kosher wines. Believe me,
So
if I were
you're
drinking
keeping-
all
you're
those,
keeping- you're
I
keeping
wouldn't
a
be
light
sitting
load.
here. I'd be sort of
Laying here.
Right. And probably comatose.
And of those 850, what was your kind of feel of the new vintages? Are you excited about where things are going? You taste a lot of crap. How'd it go?
Okay, when you first start, you have to taste a lot of crap because that's what you can afford.
Sure.
Every so often.
But I mean, of the 850 wines you had this 10-day session.
Oh, in this 10-day
Yeah,
session?
this 10-day session. What's the pulse right now
Okay.
of the wines that you had?
All right, number one, you've got to remember something. I'm here for a specific reason. In addition to my Israeli book, I'm now doing another book.
Yes, let's talk about that. Now, this is available on Amazon?
That's available on Amazon.
Mott, link it up. Rogov's Guide to Israeli Wine, 2009. Very nice. I like that you went with the green color. I appreciate that. Okay, so you're doing the book thing.
And I'm doing a new book now on kosher wines. It'll be the best 500 kosher wines I taste every year. An annual like this one is.
I like it. So you're
So-
doubling it up.
Right. So this is why I'm here now, and this is why I'm tasting
Have you
so
thought about
wonderful.
doing a TV show?
I have a TV spot in Israel that I do occasionally. I appear on programs. For many years I had a TV spot in France when I lived in France. But to do a TV show, no way. Too much work.
Understood.
Too much work.
Writing is the way to go.
Writing is the way to go for sure.
Okay. There's something else I want to link up. You have a forum that you're actively involved with.
Right.
A lot of good peeps there. So we should link that up. Mott, I'll get you that link. Link it up. I'm just in the mood to link up today. Okay, so go ahead. So the 850, you know, good, bad, indifferent. How did this scene go?
I would say 50% average to good, 10% crap, 10% top level wines, they'll stand up with the best of Europe, and the rest very good to excellent.
Fantastic.
In other words, a good trip, a good tasting trip.
Well, let's get into the first wine real quick, and then we'll
Okay.
keep talking about other stuff. What we have here is the Yogev, the Cab Petit Verdot blend, 2007. Wine retails in around $14 US. It is 80% Cabernet, 20% Petit Verdot. And why don't you tell us a little bit about this producer? You know anything about these guys?
Yeah, this is Binyamina Winery, the third biggest producer in Israel. This is from their Yogev series. Yogev is a grower, so what they've done is have a whole series named after the different growers in the field.
Well, that's pretty darn cool.
Yeah, which is
actually.
nice.
That's
which is
smart.
nice.
Give a little
Giving them-
recognition. Yeah.
Yeah, giving them recognition.
Yep.
It's a mid-level series.
Yep.
And most of the time it stands up fairly well.
Well, let's give it a sniffy sniff, shall we?
I'm with it.
You gonna Rogov sniffy sniff?
This guy's a riot.
All right, so let's see what's going on in those. I like blends with Cab and Petit Verdot. I always have. Everybody watching out there who's watched for a long time knows I'm a huge PV fan. I think it is a highly underrated grape varietal that, especially when blended with Cabernet, I think brings a lot to the aromatics. There you go. There you go. Move it over there. A little stinky on the nose, which I like, right? A little stinkified, actually.
Veggie
Yeah.
on the nose. Some people don't like wines that have a lot of green, but when they're doing that, I think what they're doing is showing a personal preference. Because wines with green, it's true, they're not Bordeaux, and they're not certainly not
California Cabernet.
California. What they are, though, and people forget this, they're very Mediterranean. It's part of the Mediterranean is green in the wines.
Are you a fan of Chinon? Are you a Cabernet Franc guy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I am as well, and the little greenness that we're getting here, and it's a little bit, and you know, even on the nose, there's a little bit like a eucalyptus-y kind of little thing going on.
The stinky part blows off right away, you know?
Yeah, it's already wearing
it's
off.
gone. That's gone. And what you're getting is a little green. I think you're getting some
Blackberry
nice,
too. Yeah.
definite blackberry,
no
right.
question.
Almost blackberry jam. Near sweet tannins.
Great spit.
Speaking about spitting, you ever see George DeBoeuf spit?
No.
He can sit here, spit into that corner,
And pin, like hit him like a fly?
and let it drop on the floor.
Really?
Good man.
You're impressed by his skills?
Yeah, I can't do it. If I do it, it gets my shirt,
All over.
the table, the floor, the people.
Everything involved.
Everything.
This is a tremendous start to the show. I find this wine extremely well made.
Yeah, it's a nicely made movie.
The mid palate of this wine completely catches me off guard because the transition of the blackberry and then it gets into almost like a cassis kind of jammy kind of play is very well integrated. The finish is long. The tannins are still sharp.
And the tannins come up on the finish,
Absolutely,
which I like.
which tells you
Right.
I'm not going to lay down in a year.
Right.
I'm sticking around for the next 4 to
right.
6 years.
Yeah.
And at 14 bones, that's a play.
At 14 bones, I presume that means dollars?
Yes, sir.
I can live with that.
Okay. Now, I've always found you to be a very good scorer. That's what I think first attracted, to me. I don't know, it just seemed like at least, a point or two here. On your scale, where does this wine roll
88.
into? 88. I'm a little bit more optimistic, maybe because I'm glowing, because I'm hanging out with you. This wine's showing a little bit better to me. I'm going to go 89 plus points on this, actually. And I think this, of all the wines that I've tasted in a long time, under $20 in the kosher red sphere, and maybe because I am a big Petit Verdot fan, I always throw an extra point
Okay.
because I love Petit Verdot, is a wine I think is a great way to learn about a kosher wine, to get a play, to see what it's about at a very affordable price, yet high quality. There is a boatload of California Cabernet and entry-level Bordeaux and Cab from Australia that is $15 to $18 that doesn't hold a candle to this wine because it's all fake fruit. This is a very true effort, and I'm pretty impressed with it.
I agree. By the way, the question of points is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying 88, you're saying
Yeah,
89
it's all
plus.
bullcrap.
Yeah, right. It's one
Really?
point.
I mean-
If I had said 88 and you said 90, then there'd be a difference. You know why?
Yeah, 'cause when you
then
cross
we're
that-
jumping in a quality
People are, there's
category.
wrestling going on back there. It's fine, let them be. Yes,
quality category,
it becomes a
different
different play.
category, right.
But that being said, I mean, points are so subjective. Who the hell, how do, it's like, how do you pull it out? I mean, you pull it out of thin air. I mean, I know what I like.
No, it's not out of thin air. Disagree.
Okay.
When I do my tastings, for
Okay.
example, I've trained my staff to set up my tastings with doubles.
Okay.
Okay, what is a double? My glasses come to the table with only one thing on them, a number in a magic marker written on the base of the glass.
What, that's a score you should give?
No, just the number of... Don't mind if I give you a zets.
I liked it.
Okay, all right. Sometimes what I'll get is the same wine in two different flights with two different numbers. So I don't know it's the same wine. Let's say I taste it twice. First time I taste it, I give it 89. Second time I taste it, I give it 88. I'm happy afterwards when I check. Well, let's say the first time I give it 73. Junk wine. Second time I give it 89. Something's wrong with me. Either with my concentration or my palate. And you know what I do with those notes for that day? They get torn up and thrown into the garbage. Because it says something's wrong with me that day. It happens.
You know what?
Your critics are like
pretty
everybody
good.
else.
We're
You
humans.
put on your trousers one leg at a time.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. Well, let's get into the next wine. Now, this is interesting to me. I hear, and you'll be able to explain it better, that Carmel Winery, which has consistently been a producer of very mediocre wine
Right.
in a lot of ways, they've always made some good wines. But, as a brand, at least in the US, it's been known as a kind of very average play. It seems like they're going to a whole different, I saw the buzz around their table. It seems like they're going for a new vibe, a rebranding. This is their Appellation Series 2006 Carignan. Don't worry about it, guys, relax. 2006 Carignan, which is a great varietal from the south of France, Rhone, does a lot of damage throughout the world. 14.5 alcohol content, spends 12 months in barrel in French oak, is a $30 US play, so they're going pretty serious on the price point. Tell the Vaniacs out there and everybody else who's watching, what's going on with Carmel these days?
Okay, first of all, you're right. Until, let's say, 7 or 8 years ago, Carmel was producing moderately mediocre wines. Every so often they'd come up with a good one. They used to love to say, 1976, 1979, we had two great wines. They had. Nobody knew how they made them. It was a miracle. You know, the Messiah came down and touched the vats. I don't know. But since then, they had nada.
Okay.
And all of a sudden what happened is a new CEO came along, a guy named David Ziv. And David decided, let's revolutionize Carmel. Let's make Carmel a competitor to the Golden Heights wine.
I see.
And what he did is he introduced several series. First of all, he introduced a single vineyard series. Second of all, he introduced a single wine series called Limited Edition. And then they introduced, this is a new series with the appellation or the regional series.
And this is from Shomron, right?
Right. No, I'm not sure where this one is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shomron. Okay.
Now, this is, interestingly enough, one of the mid-level series. It is not their top-level series.
Right.
The third level. After this, you got three more. Okay. In Israel, they're selling for about the same as they are here. It's strange, but they are selling for about the same as here. One of the things that they're doing with these is the wine staff is looking at old vines. Carignan and Petit Syrah had such a bad name in Israel because Carmel used to make such
Junkie.
Can I say drek?
Drek.
Such drek. Okay. They used to make
Babushka Anya used to always say Drek, so it's a word I'm very comfortable with.
Okay, under those two, under the Petit Syrah and the Carignan, it was drek. Okay. Then all of a sudden they started to realize that the way you're going to get good Petit and good Carignan in Israel is from old vines. Especially old vines and vineyards that lied untended, unwatered for 10, 15 years.
Where man couldn't screw it up.
Right. And now they're doing it, and this is one of the results.
Well, let's see what's going on here. The color is vibrant. It's like pearlescent. I feel like if I drink it, I'm going to explode. I mean, really dark, ripe red edges. Very licorice, kind of, intense raspberry flavors on the nose. Very dark fruit, huh?
It's interesting. Tannins that open gentle, go firm, and then come back down again. Notice?
Yeah, the middle is where all the action's coming in.
Right.
A little high in the alcohol too. Just in here, right?
No, you're feeling that. You're feeling
It's
that.
coming through a little bit.
See, wine like this, I'm not big on decanting. A wine like this, though, would be interesting to let it open the glass for a half hour, 40 minutes. It'll change dramatically.
I think you're right, and this is actually a wine that I think is really going to be hitting its stride in 3 to 4 or 5 years.
Yes,
I mean, this
it's nowhere near ready yet. It's a baby yet.
Yeah, it really is, and it's extremely tight, and it's very awkward. It's in a very awkward stage right now. And this is really probably the toughest part of when you evaluate wine, right? I always struggle with this. I mean, one, in general, evaluating somebody's hard work is always difficult. Just in general, by nature, the whole game, especially you're popping, you're pouring, you're tasting foreign wines. I mean, there is a lot of silliness to it. That being said, for me, at least, I feel a tremendous sense of responsibility for the people that are watching. They want to try things. They're working hard. Throwing around $30 a bottle is expensive.
Absolutely.
And to me, for the common wine drinker, this is a pass. I think it's a little bit boring. It's a little fruit bomby, so you get a lot of that kind of fruit bomb play in other parts of the world for a lower price point. It does have good potential. I don't think it's a bad wine.
Right. I would go further, though. See, if I were writing my note on this one now,
Right.
I'd say that's what it is now. I agree with you. I'd say starting to drink from 2011. And then it'll never be a great wine. It'll be a very nice wine. It'll be a very nice, very good wine, but
I
never
think
a
it's
great
over
wine.
oak too.
Pardon?
I feel it's a little over oak. How about for your palate?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to put the oak monster on Rogov right now, but the oak monster.
Oh, Gary, you're gonna love it.
Go ahead.
One of the wineries in Israel just came out. Are you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Cabernet Sauvignon, aged in brand new oak barrels, barriques, for 6 years.
What?
6 years. Wait, you're not ready. Wait.
That's like the oak Superman.
Selling for 495 shekels. It's $125 a bottle. Now, I suggested in my review.
That's a lot of shekels.
I suggested in my review, and they may sue me for this, I'm not sure,
Oh.
that they give a free pair of tweezers with the wine.
To
so you
pull the
can
splinters.
pluck the splinters out.
That's
Oh,
ridiculous.
boy.
I
What a
mean,
wine.
this is 12 months. I couldn't imagine what 60 months would do. I think the fruit here is very pure and
Yeah.
shows potential. I do believe, and if the gentleman, what was the gentleman's name, the new CEO? With a Z, last name Z?
No, Ziv is gone now. Ziv went the way of all flesh.
No, Dave, the new CEO of Carmel?
Israel Ifsan is the president. It was David Ziv who started this. Now it's Israel Ifsan.
Ifsan, if he was listening or watching this, I would say let this vineyard speak for itself. Calm down on the oak. Maybe go to a second or third year oak treatment. I think there would be better results. I like the mouthfeel. But to me, this is a pass. I mean, I'm going to go 86 plus points in this. I'm just not feeling it. I think it's got more potential. No question about it. It is young, but it is not going to lose a little bit of that fakeness, and the oak is going to be there. It's going to be there for a while. I really think so.
Yeah, and I would go along. If I were rating this wine for drinking now, I would agree with you, 86.
Yep.
If I were rating it for drinking in 2011, 2012, it'll probably go up to an 88, 89.
And listen, it may go to 94 for all we know.
No.
You don't
no way.
think so?
No way.
I mean, listen, fact of the matter is there's a lot of wines that have changed quite a bit, and you watch the history. I was talking about Cleanet the other day with a client, talking about 05 Cleanet, and he's like, oh, I don't want to buy it. I got a 92 Parker. This guy's all Parker. You know, it's sad when, we're talking about scores, so we're, I don't want to be a hypocrite. But I said, listen, Cleanet is one of these wines that evolves. He's like, he calls me back. He goes, I just looked at the 89 and I think it was the 89 and 86 Cleanet, or two different vintages of Cleanet that started as 90s and are now 98 or 100-point Parker scores. Certain wines grow. I agree with you. I don't think this grows to that level. No. But it is what it is. Let's move on. The next two wines I'm ecstatic about. The next wine I'm very excited about. Is this got a lot of hype in Israel? Because I've been hearing from so many people.
I'll tell you what, don't show it to me. Let's see if I can figure out what it is.
But let's
if he's crazy about it. If he's crazy about it.
Now I think you're just a very smart man, Rogov, and I think that what you are doing is you did see it, and now you're going to really show your skills because you snuck it in the corner of your eye.
No, I didn't actually.
Okay.
Is it hidden now?
It's hidden. All right, let's give it a sniffy sniff.
Okay, this is an easy one because this is one. Every one of the wines carries the winemaker's signature. It's a Yatir wine, that's for sure.
It sure is, my man. Good work. This is the 2005 Yatir Cabernet. Rolls in at 60 bones. It has 15% Shiraz in it. So that's pretty darn neat. Now, what is it? The rule in Israel is 85% of varietally correct, or 75?
85%.
85. So that's why they go with that. They do have 15% Shiraz in it. How hot is Yatir in Israel right now for collectors and people that are looking at serious wine? Is it hot? Is it not hot? What's the pulse?
As this one? You mean where they're making the wine?
No, I'm sorry. No, my fault. I'm using slang. How sought after is this wine right now?
Very.
Yeah, because I'm hearing...
It's in.
It's hot, right?
Oh, yeah.
We've been hearing a lot of people talking about Yatir, some of the higher-end clientele that wants kosher wines. It's, obviously, Castell, and there's always been some classics. This has really started hitting the radar in the last 12 months. Why is that? What's going on here?
Okay, first of all, Yatir is a small winery. If I'm not mistaken, about 350 to 400,000 bottles at this stage.
Okay, small.
They are wholly owned by Carmel. But,
really?
But they're completely independent. The winemaker and the CEO are given complete freedom there.
But on a global level, owned by Carmel.
Owned by Carmel.
Very interesting.
All right. They draw their wine. They are in the area of Arad, which is in the Negev desert.
Yep.
But they are also bordering on the Yatir forest. That's where the name comes from, Yatir. The Yatir forest may prove to be some of the best vineyards in the country. First of all, they're all very small block vineyards.
Right.
There is no way to get contiguous vineyards. So they're all small blocks.
So there's blocks throughout.
Right.
Because of the forest?
Because of the forest. You cannot mess with the forest.
Is it a beautiful place?
It's gorgeous.
It's
gorgeous.
Sounds like a must go to.
You have the old guts, the old winemaking crushing holes from 3,000-4,000 years ago.
Oh, really?
Magnificent. Be careful though, you drive a little bit in the wrong direction and you're across the green line. Now, that depends on your politics, so we won't discuss politics.
I understand. No, it's not the platform.
Okay. But the winemaker has such control over his vineyards. They built for him a state-of-the-art winery. As he described it when I first went there, it's every winemaker's wet dream. It's magnificent. He has all the most modern equipment. Around Goldwasser happens to be one of the 2 or 3 best winemakers in the country. Why are the wines great? Great grapes, great soil, great winemaker, great equipment.
It's got the whole thing.
You got the whole package.
Great color. I can tell you that right now.
Yep.
Maybe we should get a white Walmart, right? Because this probably looks good.
No, he's never had a problem with extraction, that's for sure.
No, big dark fruit. I mean, just big dark fruit on the nose, which I like quite a bit. I mean, you know, almost like, do you remember that purple magic marker when you were little and you'd pop it open, you'd smell it? That's what I get on this nose. You get that kind of action on the nose. It's so obvious, actually. It's like really obvious. Wow, it's quite interesting. And there's also almost like a Kirsch Royale kind of component on the nose. Very extracted. If I was to see this in front of me and smell this, I'd be like, oh wow, this is a California cold wine, an Australian Barossa Shiraz. This is big, big stuff. Let's give it a whirl.
Yeah.
Trying to impress
Nice.
the book guy. Big fruit, very candied play. Again, alcohol coming through a little bit, but this wine can hold the alcohol a little more.
This holds it easily.
You know, it's like the last wine, you know, might have been packing and it just couldn't contain itself. This can contain it within the clothes and what have you in the confines. The tannin structure and the fruit is very bright. This is an over-the-top effort. I mean, it's big fruit. This is very new world.
Yeah, but now let me ask you a question.
Yeah, please.
Would you drink it now?
Would I drink that?
Yep.
Would I drink that?
Yeah. Now.
I would tell you this. I could probably drink a glass of this now.
Okay.
But it is so big and so fruit driven. I'm not sure that will ever really go away except for a very long time. This is that style that we're seeing in the U.S., you know, in the Turley's Inns and, you know, in the Bryan family style, that big, rich Harlan,
Okay.
over-the-top fruit.
You a betting man?
I'm a betting man. I bet quite a bit. I've lost an enormous amount of money.
I won't cost you enormous. I can't afford to lose a lot.
Fair enough.
$5.
$7.
$5.
Seven.
Deal. $7 in 3 years. Let's retaste this wine together. Or we can do it
Go
on
ahead,
telephone.
I'm listening. No.
And you'll
we'll do it
find
again.
that it's.
What, you don't want to hang out with me anymore?
I'm not gonna be here that
I'll
much.
come to you. You came once, I'll come.
Deal.
Done.
I'll get you on.
Done.
I'm on Levy's television program.
Well,
We'll do-
now I'll come right now.
We'll try. I'm not
all
crazy.
for it for television.
I'm not almost as crazy as you are, by the way.
So,
It's
go
okay.
ahead. 3 years.
And I'll bet you in 3 to 4 years, this wine will have settled down. The wood will be down because what you've
3
got
to
here,
4?
you've got the structure,
How about
you've got
3?
the balance.
I'm trying to win $7.
No, let's say 3 to 4. Okay, somewhere in there. $7. We got a few witnesses here, right?
42 months.
Say yes, people.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, witnesses, you're in trouble.
3 to 4 years, fruit goes down.
It'll show its balance and its elegance.
At 3 to 4 years,
Yep.
I'm in for 7.
Deal.
I'm in. Now, that being said, I'm liking this wine a lot, and if you're a big over-the-top fruit bomb drinker, you're gonna like it as well. What I like about this, unlike many fruit bombs, they get totally out of control. I think this still shows some balance of integrity.
Great deal.
I'm gonna go 91 plus points in this. How about you, sir?
92.
Very
That's
nice.
what- that's what I gave
We're in
one
the
this
same
time.
ballpark. This is good.
It's good stuff.
Really good.
I
I like it.
I get
And it's not.
By the way,
Go
there's
ahead.
one of the differences between us. Maybe it's because I'm older, and I'm not saying that as a
And better
positive or
looking.
negative. But
You're older and better looking.
well, obviously.
Yes,
That's a different
people
stuff.
can see it. I mean, it's right there.
Of course.
What do we get there? Go ahead. What's it?
All right. I'm one of those people. I would drink it now,
You would.
but knowing that what I'm doing is holding off. I'm sampling now. It's like watching a kid when it's 3 years old, and then waiting till it's 6 and 9 and 12.
Sure.
Okay.
I'm still kind of 3, 6, and 9, and 12. Still
That's
actively.
cool.
That's good.
And I'm 138, so it's a good deal.
All right. How many times? This next wine's pretty neat, isn't it?
It's
Did you have it the first time on this trip? It's a new project.
Yeah, I've had it 3 times already on this trip.
You're banging them up for a $150 bottle of wine. This is a rinse.
Is that what it costs?
Yeah, it's a $150 to $200 bottle of wine.
All right.
That's right, $150 to $170 kosher wine from Napa, from what is arguably right now the hottest vineyard in all of California. What we have here in front of you is the Generation 8, 2006 Tokalone Vineyard Napa Valley Cabernet by Herzog, one of the iconic names in all of kosher products, let alone wine. This is the Tokalone Vineyard. Again, this has been a vineyard that has been really only used in the top California cult wines. So this is a real cultural shock. When I saw this when I first walked in, I was stopped in my tracks. They said, taste it, it's crazy. I said, no way, Thunder Show. We've got to put it in front of people because this is a game-changing possible wine. Now, this could fall on flat on its face, but the vineyard is so good. I don't even think Mott and I could screw it up, and we have no winemaking skills. The price point is hefty, I will say that, but a very small production play. A couple hundred cases is what I'm hearing. This is kind of one of those things that if you're strictly on a kosher play, kosher diet, kosher wine, this is the kind of wine you're probably going to want in your collection because it is that special. But let's see, it could suck. I've had a couple of $150 California wines that I've scored in the 70s lately, so I've been tough. Let's give it a sniffy sniff. What are you on noses? You're a big fan on smelling? You're a big bouquet guy?
I'm even one of these people who looks at color.
Yeah, I'm a big color guy too. I mean, color, as a matter of fact, color and smell is how I almost blind taste. I almost don't need to taste it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big part of the way I go.
I saw a broadbent one time take a wine, sniff it like that, swirl it again, sniff it,
And call it.
Chateau Lafite 1959.
And drilled it.
He was right.
That's scary. Herzog, Generation 8, 2006 Cabernet took alone. Well, I'm sorry. Just having fun with myself. All right. Not very over the top on the nose, which is already a good sign, because Tocolone can get away from you. The fruit is so crazy. I like the restrained nose. I like the red fruit that I'm getting on there. Little cranberry on the back end as well. Creamy, so the oak is going to be a play here, and I'm a little bit worried about that for my own palate. But that's where these wines tend to go. Let's give it a whirl. I will tell you one thing right off the bat. This may be the single smoothest young wine I've put in my mouth this year. And I'm not talking about 2009. I'll go rolling 12 months. Very smooth on the palate. That initial attack is about as smooth as I've come across in a long, long time.
First of all, what I like about the wine, I agree, the initial attack is very smooth. But even
Very smooth though.
This is a wine that even, how long has the bottle been open?
Not
Half an hour?
long.
Not
Right.
long.
Not
even
close to
despite that, get it into your mouth and it starts to open in layers. First attack, blueberries. Second attack, coming right after that is darker berries.
I agree with you on that.
Coming after that is plums. Then you start to build in the overlays.
I get a little bacon, believe it or not.
I was just,
yeah.
shh, it's kosher. Don't
Sorry,
talk about bacon.
sorry.
Don't.
I get it.
My God.
Sorry.
I know, I get it too.
Can I get out of here, Mom? Let's get out of here. But I get it a little bit on the back end, right?
Yeah, I was going to say smoked meat. I was going to be gentle, but okay. All right.
You can see I just cut right to the chase.
And also, what's happening is you stop thinking about. Look at the end now. What do you get there now? You get two things, which I love:
Well, I get a lot of spiciness on the back end, a lot of
spiciness and lots of dark chocolate on the end. Dark chocolate comes booming out at you. It's beautiful.
I'll tell you right now, there's a cedar box component, almost like a tobacco box. You know, you get a lingering tobacco. I wouldn't call it tobacco. I'd call it like the cedar tobacco box.
Yep.
This is very polished wine.
I agree.
I mean, this is very good.
You talk about the price. Okay, price to me is very rarely an issue. The only one issue to me is value for money. The Prince of Wales bought a bottle of 1900 Chateau Yquem for 22,000 sterling.
Right.
Worth every penny. He bought a piece of the history of the 20th century.
And he got enormous amounts of press for it.
Right. Mostly negative. I was one of the few who wrote positive, you remember.
I remember.
Okay, all right, fine. But it was worth every penny. I mean, because he wasn't trying to show off.
With you? Was that why you,
No comment. I know wines that you can buy for $8 that are bad value for money and they're too expensive.
Sure.
I know wines you can buy for $350 that I consider very good value for money. Thank you, sir.
This is
now we're not going to spit.
No,
now
this is
we're going to drink.
I mean, this is a very special wine. Clearly, if you're a California cold play, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm going to a very serious California cold tasting with Screaming Eagle and Harlan and Colgin, and I'm gonna bring a bottle of this blind, and I'm gonna see what happens. I mean, it has got all the characteristics of those kind of wines.
Yeah, you'll blow some people away with
Yes, it's gonna be a big stunning thing, isn't it? I think this is a very, very good wine. It's a little bit too oaky for me.
You must own a wine store or something to get
Just
that
a little
kind of wine.
something.
Yeah, I've heard.
Little shop, little corner shop. I like the black cherry too. I'm getting a lingering black cherry. Where is this on the Rogov scale?
93, 94.
we're in.
Yeah, I want to retaste it blind. I've tasted it 3 times, but not blind.
Right.
No, wait a minute. No, I haven't tasted this one blind yet. I'll taste it blind before I do a final score. But it'll be 93, 94, maybe 95. I doubt it. 93, 94, which is very, very respectable.
I'm going to say something. Out of all the critics that I've matched up my scoring to, and probably because I've done less kosher wine, I can match myself up with Spectator and Tanzer and those guys more. We have fallen into a line. There's been 2 or 3 things that I've seen that you scored that I've been higher, or things of that nature. But I agree with you. I think this is a 93 plus point wine. I think it's extremely good. I think it's debatable with the price point, but I think there's some specialty in it. Economy's a little bit tougher now, but definitely, if you are a person that only is able to consume kosher wine, you are now finally in a place where you can have world-class wine. You got to pay world-class prices, but that's what they're paying for the cold wines out of California anyway.
That's right.
I think it's a spectacular effort. I'm very impressed with the lineup. I'm pretty disappointed with the Carmel, but other than that, I'll be honest with you. I was really, really darn impressed with the Yogev, and not because the Y replaced your R.
Okay.
I mean, this is just a good wine.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was very good. I mean, once again, if I look at the wines that I've done on reviews on kosher wine, we've been in that ballpark of like 3 out of every 4, 2 out of every 4. They've shown extremely well consistently, and I just think that it's clearly a changing of the guard.
Absolutely.
In the region.
Absolutely.
What kind of last word do you have for them, Mr. Rogov? By the way, coolest wine
What did you call me?
Oh, Danny Boy Rogov.
Can I borrow that straight razor, please?
Come on, I need my ear.
Next time.
Did you see this bottle, by the way? Let's give them a plug. I have no idea.
That's gross.
You don't like it?
No.
This is tremendous. I saw these ones. These are cool. Come on, they got like a clip. You don't like it, huh?
It's funny.
It's funny and gross. Last word. What should people know? What do you want to tell them? What should all the tens of thousands
Let's
of
put it
people
this way.
watching?
One of the questions people ask me all the time is, Rogov, what's your favorite wine? I have a double answer. First of all, I go back to the show Finian's Rainbow, where there was a leprechaun who sang a beautiful song.
Jeez.
Now, I can't sing very well, but I'll sing one line from it.
Please.
When I'm not near the girl I love the girl I'm near. That's my favorite wine. My favorite wine depends on with whom I'm sitting, what we're eating, why we're drinking,
What we're
my
talking
mood
about.
is, what we're talking about,
That's the game.
That's the game. Drink. No!
Danny boy,
Drink to that.
Thank
man.
you for being on the show. Now,
pleasure.
as every guest gets to do, you get to ask the Vayner Nation the question of the day. They'll answer it down below. Fire away. Any question you want. It could be about anything in the world.
I can ask any question.
Any question in the world.
Will Israel exist in 75 years?
Oh, you're going global, huh? You, with a little bit of me and amazing wine critics like this, we are changing the wine world.